Okay, so these are the points of discussion that would be presented uh, in this video. So first, we'll be talking about the data set. What is the data set consisting of? What are the features in the data set? And where did we means will be describing the basic understanding of the data set. Then next point is problem statements. So what are the problem statements we are looking for in this pertaining to this particular data set, and we'll try to answer those problem statements using our data analysis techniques. Next is feature description. So feature, what are the features that are present in the data set? Various features in the present in the data set will be describing those. Next is data exploration. So what are the steps that we took for data exploration? How did we find the data? What are the various features, and what are the various statistical parameters? We'll be looking at those. Next point is data cleaning. So while exploring the data, we have come across some missing values. So how we have handled those missing values, we will be discussing that in the data cleaning uh, part. So next is we'll be looking at what are the hosts and neighborhood groups involved in the data set. Means this particular data set is about the New York City bookings. Means there are Airbnb listed in whole of the New York City. So how means which hosts have hosted their listings in various neighborhood groups. We'll be studying that. Then next is we'll be uh, talking about the price distribution across the neighborhoods. How is the price range? Which is the most expensive? Which is the cheaper option? Okay. So next is the popular neighborhood by reviews. We'll be gazing upon the how is the popularity across various neighborhoods, and also we'll be looking at the preferred room type. So among various listings, which is the most preferred room type? This is the conclusion. So, okay. So this is the data set that we analyzed was Airbnb NYC 2019. So Airbnb is an American company that is an online marketplace. So where uh, retailers can also list their property on such a platform, and they can rent out their properties for a specified period of time as they're liking. And so this particular data set consists of the booking information on Airbnb from 2008 till 2019. So, okay, so these are the problem statements that will try to answer. So our problem statements are as what can we learn about the different hosts and areas? So there are different hosts mentioned in the data set, and also various neighborhood groups. So is there any relation between them? Who is the topmost host who have listed maximum listing in the particular neighborhood group? Next is what can we learn about the predictions? So there is a price feature in the data set. We'll be looking at the various price distribution across the neighborhood groups. How is the price range in various neighborhoods? Next is which hosts are busiest and why. So by busiest we mean here is that how is the various hosts occupied? Means so which host is the listing is most occupied throughout the year. Next is which room type is preferred in most popular neighborhood. Okay, we'll be trying to find the answer for this problem statement. So data analysis, explore EDA. So okay, so this is the features. There are various features in the data set. Okay, these are the list. The features are listed here. So first feature is ID. It is basically the identity number of the property, means of the property which is listed in the on Airbnb. It is the identity number of the property. Next is name. It's the property name which is listed by the host. Host ID is the ID of the host who has listed the property on Airbnb. While registering on Airbnb platform, the ID the host might have received an ID that is the host ID. Next is host name. So it will be containing all the names of the host who have listed their properties in the on the Airbnb. Next is neighborhood group. So there are various neighborhood groups in the New York City, also referred as boroughs. The neighborhood groups feature contains various names of the neighborhood groups. Neighborhoods. Also, there are various neighborhoods, particularly in various neighborhood groups. Neighborhoods in neighborhood groups. There are various neighborhoods in neighborhood groups. So this feature neighborhood contains all the names of the neighborhoods. So okay, next is the latitude. So latitude and longitude are the coordinates of the particular property listed in the dataset or on the Airbnb. Room type. So where there are various room types which are hosted by the host. The room type feature contains the name of the room types. So those can be private room, shared room, entire home or apartment. So price, it is the rent of the property listed in US. It is the price is in US dollars. Minimum nights. So this represents the minimum nights, minimum number of nights the customer rented the property. Okay, the customer has booked the property for minimum number of nights. So number of reviews. This represents the number of customers reviewed the property. Means suppose the customers have booked the particular property and after means they'll review the experience after they have stayed there for X number of days. They'll review the experience for the property. So this contains for a particular listing how many reviews, for a particular host how many reviews uh, have been received by the host. Last review is the last date when the that particular listing got reviewed. Reviews per month is the average count of the reviews per month. Calculated host listings count is the number of listings done by a particular host in a particular neighborhood or neighborhood group. Availability, this represents the number of days the property is available among the 365 days, that is 1 year. Okay, so let's start with the data exploration. Here we are seeing that these are the first 5 rows of the data set. Also here we see some missing values, null values. So okay, this is there are total 48,895 rows, that is observations in the data set, and 16 features, that is columns. And this is the list of the various 16 features. As we saw earlier, ID, name, host ID, host name, neighborhood group, and etc. So we check for the categorical columns in the data set. So categorical columns are those under which the data the data type under those columns can be non-numeric. It can be mixed. It can be characters or string or anything of sort which is non-numeric. So we found out that there are categorical columns in the data set, and this is the list: name, host name, neighborhood group, and here are the non-categorical columns which are there in the data set: ID, host ID, latitude, longitude. Okay, so we'll check for the null values in the data set. So the column wise, we have got a list here of the total null values present in the data set. So you can see here last review and reviews per month have maximum number of null values. Okay, and name and host name have few null values. So what we did here is as last review and reviews per month is not scope of our problem statement, or so we dropped those columns, and for name and host name we replaced it with term absent, so that we come to know that these are as they are under our scope. These features are under our scope of the problem statement. So we cannot remove those, we cannot drop those columns. What we did is replace the null values with a keyword, a string called absent. So there will be 16 absents present in the name and 21 absents present in the host name. Okay. So yeah, we fixed the null values by dropping the last review and reviews per month. So after cleaning the data set, this is the sum of null values. Okay, so we have got 0 null values in each feature. Okay, so first what we did was we got a bigger picture. This by we tried to find out how many listings are there across neighborhood groups. Okay, so there are total 5 neighborhood groups in the dataset, namely Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, and Staten Island. Among those, Manhattan and Brooklyn has maximum number of neighborhood groups. This corresponds to around 87%. Okay, so Manhattan solely has 44.3% of the total listings. Okay, and Queens, Bronx, and Staten Island are come to the later part. Queens comes in the third place, and Staten Island has least number of hosts. So next we found out that okay, we got a bigger picture that there are neighborhood groups and there are total number of Manhattan, Brooklyn has maximum number of listings. So we found out that which host has maximum listings in a particular neighborhood group. Okay, so through this analysis we found out that is host named Sonder has total 327 listings in Manhattan neighborhood group, followed by Blue Ground, which has second highest, that is 232 in the Manhattan neighborhood group. So as we can see here, Manhattan in Manhattan itself, the Sonder has maximum listings. Okay. Next, we tried to find uh, the popularity among the different neighborhoods. Okay, so the popularity we defined it using the number of reviews feature in the dataset. So basically, is that whichever neighborhood group has got maximum number of reviews, those we have considered as popular. So we okay, so through this pie chart we can see that Queens has 26.45% of the total reviews, followed by Manhattan 25.53. So there isn't much difference between Queens and Manhattan. So Queens and Manhattan are popular, and followed by Brooklyn. Brooklyn also has 20.52% of reviews. Staten Island and followed by Staten Island, and Bronx has least number of reviews. So, but corresponding to 13.5. Okay. So next, so by the last point, we found out that means how the popularity is distributed among different neighborhood groups. Next, we'll be looking at the rental prices. Okay. So what we did here is we checked for the descriptive statistics of the data. So these are the various non-categorical columns, and these are the various statistical variables, statistical parameters. So as we can see here, that the price data, the mean is $152.72, and the maximum is $10,000, which is extreme. So, and minimum is $0. So it is widely spread. The price data is from $0 to $10,000, which is, and $10,000 seems to be very high price for which can be a luxurious apartment of sort. Okay, so we did a little digging in the price. We what we did was plotted a box plot. So here we can see that the box plot represent that there are many outliers in the data. Okay, so next what we did to clear this, to remove these outliers from the price data, we followed a technique called quantile flooring and capping, in which that we found out the 10th percentile of the price data and the 90th percentile of the price data, and we removed the values which are less than 10 percentile and above 90th percentile. So what we got here, the range of the price is $49 to $269. So we can see here is a maximum means difference. There is a major difference that $10,000 is one of a kind. It falls under the 10 percentile range. So this is the updated price data that we got. So here is the new box plot after cleaning the price data, which is much cleaner. So $49 to $269 is the range. So next we found out is that how is the price distribution across neighborhood groups. Okay, we plotted a violent plot here, which gives a fair amount of idea how the prices are distributed. So as we can see here that Manhattan has a highest, means the price range is more. It is evenly distributed. Even though there are some cheaper options available, means around $50 to $100, but there are also uh, expensive ones present. The next is Brooklyn. Brooklyn, we can see there are cheaper options available compared to Manhattan. So this part is, you can see that there are cheaper options available. Also, there are some uh, around $200. There are some uh, options available. Okay, and then Queens, Staten Island, and Bronx seem to be that there are more cheaper options available here, and uh, the yeah, as compared to Brooklyn and Manhattan, there are cheaper rentals rental options available in Queens, Staten Island, and Bronx. Okay, so from this we can infer that there are the Manhattan and Brooklyn has uh, higher, specifically Manhattan has the highest price range, and also it is the most expensive one, and Brooklyn comes in second, which has a higher price range, but it is there are cheaper options available with respect to Manhattan. Okay. Next, we what we did was who are the busiest hosts. Okay. So what how did we, the approach that we took here is that we look for the number of reviews which the host have got. Okay. The maximum number of reviews the particular host has got, we have considered it as the busiest, that as the number of people are liking that particular property and frequently those property are getting booked. Okay, so here we can see the bar plot of the top 10 hosts. There is a host named JJ which has highest number of reviews. Okay, and the top hosts also have listed a private room and entire home apartment room types. Okay, so this is the plot. JJ followed by Carol, Asa, Vanda. So we see a nice distribution over here. Maximum is JJ and Carol, and then it finally drops down. Okay. Next is the we sort out which is the most preferred room type. So to find a relation between the why these hosts are busiest, we found a, means we try to link the room type with the busyness of the host. Okay, so what we found here is private room and entire home apartment is, looking at this histogram, that it is most frequently listed. So and shared room is less, is is very less as compared to private room and entire home. So from this data we can say that this JJ Carol and this top 10 hosts are busiest because they have listed private room, entire home, apartment, which are preferred by most of the customers. Okay, shared room is least preferred by the people. Next, what we try to find out is it gauge the neighborhoods, top 10 neighborhoods. Okay, in terms of listings. So earlier we saw that there are there are 5 neighborhood groups which are major. There are 5 neighborhood groups, and we saw the listings distribution across those neighborhood groups. Here we are trying to find out how the listings is done, how is listings distributed across various neighborhoods. So here are the top 10 neighborhoods. Williamsburg is the topmost neighborhood, having around 3,500 listings, followed by Bedford to Weston. And okay, so here we can see that there are neighborhoods, and also Williamsburg and Bradford belong to Brooklyn. Okay, and Harlem belong to Manhattan. So we can see that overall Manhattan has more number of listings, but Williamsburg and Bedford, being a neighborhood in Brooklyn, those have a maximum number of listings in those particular neighborhoods. So concluding the our total uh, uh, data analysis, we can say that Manhattan has most number of listings, followed by Brooklyn and Queens, and also Staten Island has least number of listings. It is quite reasonable that Manhattan has most number of tourist places, as well as various museums and various tourist spots to visit to, and also Queens and Staten Island are most, means there are most residential areas found there. So Manhattan and Brooklyn, 87% of the listings are available in whole New York City. Queens has significantly less hosting, but as we found out that number of reviews were greater in Queens, so it can be a way of the potential over there for the business growth in Queens. The it means enough steps to be taken to encourage host listings in Queens, and also there are cheaper rates available in Queens. The maximum demand is for private rooms and entire home apartment. People are more interested in cheaper rentals. So the top 10 neighborhoods with the most listings are located either in Manhattan or Brooklyn. Harlem is in Manhattan and Williamsburg is in Brooklyn. Okay. So Manhattan is the most top neighborhood group with number in terms of listings as well as in terms of price. So Manhattan has higher price range, and Brooklyn, as compared to Manhattan, has there are few cheaper options available. And given that Manhattan is a world famous for its museum, stores, parks, it has a substantial amount of tourists visiting Manhattan, and also that can be a factor for the high price. Okay, as the demand is there is quite large, and followed by the Brooklyn, which has the significant number of listings, but also cheaper prices are available there. And also there are the Williamsburg and Bedford, which are close to Manhattan, so people can stay over there and visit Manhattan, which is nearby to, so they can choose the minimum amount of rental to pay, and they can travel to the Manhattan, which has most tourist places. Okay, so with this, we conclude our data analysis on exploratory data analysis on Airbnb dataset. Thank you.